Okay, so now that you have this little section made, we're going to close it and turn it this way, and this is where those other 4 slanted pockets are going to go. And so I'm going to line that up again just like I did on the first one, about maybe a little more than 1/4 of an inch down, and making sure that this edge is completely straight. That's how I can know that the pocket is fairly straight. And then once that one's down, I do the other side, and I use that line to figure out just where to put, so it'll line up exactly. That line that is the thread that goes through the duct tape. And then press the other one down, and then just eyeball it for the other 2 pockets. And then we need to cut another piece that is about 3 inches long. Cut it to the length you want, which is 3 inches, and then, actually I think I'm going to do this about 3.5 inches, and then you cut 3/4 of an inch off of it and use what's left to do the sealing up. This time you do not want to bring the excess over the top, because this is your nice edge that we just formed, so it has to end right at the edge, right at the top. But I do bring this bottom part over and around, because that's not going to show, that's going to be hidden. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is cover the other side of this piece of this panel that we had made. So you need a strip, 1/2 inch or 1/2 of an 8-inch strip of your trim tape, and then you're going to trim it to 1/4 inch. I'm just going to pick this up and show you what this looks like from the top, because I know my angle's not very well. So there, it's all lined up, and now I can just lay the strip down right along the ruler, and it'll be fairly straight. Okay, and then just flip that over and fold that over on the other side. And it's important that you have this oriented correctly. So have the card pockets facing up here, then turn it over, and you're going to work on this side as the top. Okay, so we're going to take one of those straight pockets, and you know how I do this. I kind of eyeball it down a little more than 1/4 of an inch from the top, and try to line it up completely straight along this edge, which keeps the card pocket fairly straight. And then I line up the one across from it by looking for that line. Okay, press those down, and then just line them up, the next one up below it, where you like it, where it looks good to you. And you can either trim off or fold over the extra. Okay, now that the pockets are in here, we need to flip them back and clear tape them. And now we're ready to seal up the middle. Again, you're going to take a 3-inch piece of tape, cut off 3/4 of an inch, and then use the rest to seal these up, placing it evenly between. And in this case, we don't want it to go over the top here or over the bottom, because we're already all set up nicely on the other side, so we don't want that overhang. So it needs to be exact, or else you'll need to trim it off. Alright, next we're going to seal up the bottom, and because we already have this nice trim here, we're just going to match that. So I flip it over, and this other piece of gold tape that I had from when I cut this piece in half is what I'm going to use. And I'm just going to line it right up on that quarter over trim. There's no reason to do it again, it's already been done once. And it sort of has the added benefit of making these card pockets even stronger, I think. And then just fold over the excess on the other side. Okay, so then we're going to seal up these sides. Another strip of your trim. And we are going to want 2 3/4 inch pieces to do this trimming with. And we're going to turn it over once again and line this side up at, I'm actually going to trim this at about 3/8 of an inch rather than 1/4. and then flip it over and close up the other side. And I am going to have to trim a little bit off at the top. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so to attach the accordion coin pouch, we're going to need 2 more strips of 3-inch strip length tape, and I cut those to 3/4 of an inch once again. And make sure you orient this the correct way. You want these pockets facing up, of course. Okay, I'm going to place this on here first. And if you have, you'll probably have some excess with this 3-inch strip. Put that equal to the top. If there's any extra, have it hanging over the bottom down here. So when you go to put this on, make sure that you have this aligned correctly. These pockets should be facing up towards the top where the pocket zips open. Okay, and so you're going to take one of your 3/4 inch strips that are 3 inches long. This is the top. We're going to line it up with the trim that's on there, and also make sure that it's exactly lined up with the top of the panel here. If there's any overhang, it should be at the bottom. And then we're just going to line it up the best way you can with the expandable and fasten it like that. Okay, and then to do the other side, again, check where your top is, put the gold or whatever your trim is, 3/4 inch wide piece of 3-inch tape on that trim. And then this is a little trickier on this side because you don't have the give that you did before when it wasn't attached on one side, but you want it to line up pretty closely to the edge of the expandable and the edge of your panel. And so now we are attached. Okay, the next step is to make the outside part of the wallet. And I have already made this. I did a weave, and I'm not going to redo it or show you a tutorial right now on how to do it. I will do that in a separate video. So my cover is already made. I used strips of gold and the snaky to make a zigzag weave that is 8 inches by 10.5 inches. Okay, and so now, because this is not traditionally, it would be this would be a solid piece, and when you flip it over, there would be another solid piece here and sticky all the way around the outside that you would cut boxes in so that you could fold it over everything. Well, I don't have that because of what I did here, so I need to make a frame using more gold tape. So that's what I'm going to do. And if you do decide to use a weave, you need to make sure that when you make this frame, so-called frame, you go over, we want to go over, well, I want to go over 3/8 of an inch, but I generally do it a whole 1/2 inch and then trim later. It's just easier because these mats don't have markings that all the way through it that end at the 3/8 inch. So it's easier to do it at 1/2 inch and then go back and trim it down. So I want to make sure I extend this past this side by 1/2 inch and by this side by 1/2 inch. And I'm going to cut that in half, and that will give me my top piece. And then I need, for the sides, they will need to be about 1 inch longer than 8 inches so that they will extend out 1/2 inch on both sides. So basically a 9-inch piece of duct tape. And I'll cut that in half again as well. Okay, and so now I need to form this frame. to do this, I put it on. I've already got this nicely trimmed when I formed it. So I want to go right over the top of that, leaving about the 1/2 inch on either side sticking out. Okay, and so now I like to press it down, line it up on the 1-inch lines, and press it down to do my trimming. And because the 1/8 inch marks are all at the edge here, I use a really long ruler to reach all the way there so I can actually get a very accurate measurement. Okay, and so now we're going to assemble our wallet. So I'm going to take this panel that is doubled kind of, and it is going to go right here. And what you want to do, make sure that this is lined up perfectly with the end. The ends, 2 ends are lined up. And right at where that pocket is, you cut slits here. Okay, and then let's go ahead and fold this over. Okay, and then fold up these sides. Okay, and then we need to close this, fold this over like this, and then we're going to measure up 1 1/4 inches from where we cut that first slit and cut the next one. Okay, so go ahead and fold those under and over. And then we're going to place our expandable coin pouch and, well, the rest of our wallet. So to do this, we're going to lay these expandables down here, right where the end of the tape is cut there, and then we're going to make another slit on the other side of it where it's going to fold on, and go ahead and just fold that on there. And do the same thing with the other side. And then you're just going to fold up these edges. Okay, so now we need a bottom for our coin pouch and our billfolds here. So we need to cut a piece of clear tape that's 8 inches long. And then we need another piece, or actually what I did was I took part of this piece. I cut off about 1/2 inch of this clear tape. And flipped over the bigger piece. And put this one down about in the middle. Maybe just a little bit higher, closer to one side than the other, because that's going to be the bottom that's not sticky. And then place the skinnier edge here along this side of this panel right here. Press it down, and then make sure all the expandables are all folded down, and just fold down. Press that down, and that's how I formed the bottom. No, I'm going to do 2 3/4. I'm going to do 2 3/4. And cut them into 3/4 inch strips. And match the Trim on this side, and then fold over the excess on the other side. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, I measured up 1.5 inches from the top, or inch and a half down, however you want to look at it, and that is where I cut to. So, and across the top, also 1.5 inches. So the corner is just from 1.5 inches here to 1.5 inches here. Okay. Make it about 3¼ inches long. Maybe 3.5. And then cut 3/4 inch pieces to use. Other hand. Actually, a lot of the time. Okay. And then all that's left to do is make the band. About 9.5 inches long, and then flipped it over and folded it about 1/3 of the way up, and then using my mat to measure, I made it 3/4 inch wide total. I believe it's about 1/2 inch down from the top, and just use more gold tape to fasten it down, and I left a little bit of slack too. Okay, and so now there's a place for this to go in. If you don't want to use the strap, I just have really thought it worked well, but if you don't want to, you could use Velcro. I hope you enjoyed watching my video, and I know it was a little haphazard because every time I do this I kind of relearn it and do something different. So, alright, thanks very much for watching.